So I'm Ella, Bald A-Hole here, another one of my vlogs as I walk around the place, which is another thing people ask me about. We'll start there. They say, Simon, should I do my 10,000 steps? Absolutely, because it's a great way to get your cardio in. Plus you get outdoors, you get some fresh air, it's good for your physical health, it's good for your mental health, and you will burn calories. Sometimes people think, oh my gosh, I must be doing super duper cardio all the time and sweating to get it in. That's not true at all. Steady state cardio is good, and again, just getting out into the world is also good. And today we're going to talk about when you know, or when you should start thinking about changing your workout program, because it's a question I get a lot, Instagram and Twitter at Simon316. And I think the biggest problem people have with this is they change it too soon. They basically do 8 weeks of a program. By the end of it, they don't like Arnold Schwarzenegger, so they decide it's not working and I should change it up. And they never actually get to a point to see whether this program was working or not, because 8 weeks to achieve anything is absolutely ridiculous. Even if you are some kind of superhuman and you have super genetics, 2 months essentially is not going to be enough to know whether a program is working, whether you need to tweak a program, or whether you're actually responding to that program in the first place. I mean, think about building a house. Think about how long it takes to build a house, and why when people do build a house, they get a bunch of individuals and human beings along to speed up the process, which kind of ties into another analogy, where if you can get a personal trainer, you should, because they will look at you from a completely different perspective that you see yourself, and they'll actually be able to guide you when it comes to changing your program. But I totally get that comes down to finances. But it's the same kind of thing here, right? It's the same kind of thing. When you are building your body, you have to give it time, and you have to try and figure out what's working, what's not working, before you just decide to throw the baby out with the bathwater and go, oh my gosh, because what's going to happen is you're going to be changing from program to program to program, and you're never going to be able to track any progress, or again, whether or not you're actually making gains or you're standing still. And this comes down to tracking, basically, and making notes. So we've talked about this before. Not only should you be tracking progressive overload, right? So you're doing a bench press, you start off the program, you can do 100 kilograms. And then by the end of it, you can do 108 kilograms. Awesome. Make sure you write that down. Before you go and do that bench press day or push day, whatever it is, write down how much sleep did you get? How much food did you eat? How are you feeling that day? Did you take pre-workout? Because all of these things are going to make a difference in terms of how you feel in the gym and whether or not you actually feel like you're evolving and taking the right steps forward. And the reason that is so important is because when it does come to the time when you do hit a plateau, for example, you kind of look back through those notes, you say, man, I've been stuck on 110 kilograms for a while now. You can then go, well, let me see how I felt that day. And maybe on one day, the reason you went down to 108 kilograms is because you only got 4 hours sleep. So you were absolutely knackered. Now, when you do have all this information together, that's when you can put it together in a big scrapbook and you can say, you know what, I'm not making any more progress. I have been getting my sleep. My diet's been on point. I've been smashing pre-workout like I want to die, which is what people do. And then it just gives you a much better foundation to make the decision, okay, well now I'm going to try something else, whatever that may be. What a lot of people seem to do is if they're doing a push-pull legs routine, they now I got to do a bro splits routine. If you don't know what that means, push-pull legs is quite obvious. One day you do push, one day you do push, one day you pull, one day you do legs. And a bro split is, back and bis, chest and tries, back, legs, maybe you do an arm day, shoulder day, whatever. But you don't have to make such drastic changes either. But if you do, make sure you stick to it. This is another thing that people do. They do their push-pull legs routine, get to 20 weeks in and go, you know what, I'm going to change it. They then change it for a week, decide in their own head that they've lost muscle mass, which is almost impossible in 7 days. I mean, you really have to go to something extreme, and they go back to their original program. You can't do that. You've got to make these decisions and you've got to stick to it. But yeah, you also don't have to do like a massive 180. There's loads of things you can do. Maybe you've just been going heavy the whole time. Maybe you can introduce some exercises and some sets which focus on light repetitions. Maybe you can go full on time under tension. So you're really focusing on that positive and you're really focusing on that negative concentration. Maybe you will start working on your form. There's so many different things you can do in order to spark your body back into life. Because do not forget that too. That's essentially what happens. Your body is very smart, right? And it will adapt to the training that you're giving it because you're essentially putting yourself under stress. So what your body does is it goes, okay, well, I don't massively think this is a good thing, even though it is, and your body doesn't know what it's talking about, but it is in those moments where you do have to come up with something a little bit different in order to surprise your body, in order to keep it guessing, and in order to continue triggering gains, which is what we're all trying to do anyway. But I would say it's more beneficial to you to stay on a program longer than is actually necessary than to jump around the place. I think you will make better progress by doing that because it all comes down to intensity at the end of the day, which is another great barometer for trying to figure out whether you do need to change a program. Because if you're going to the gym and you find that you do have the necessary intensity, but you're not getting that feedback loop when it comes to the gym, like maybe you're struggling to get a pump, or maybe your concentration levels are just falling, that probably does mean you've hit a plateau. Could also mean you're overtraining, but that's like a different video for a different day. But yeah, when you start feeling like that and you kind of have this lethargic nature to everything, it could just be that no matter what you throw at your body, it's not going to respond anymore. Because again, you have worn out that program's lifespan. Doesn't mean you can't go to that program, back to that program in however long, how long's a piece of string. But that's the time when you do want to start shaking things up. And sometimes it can even be as simple as you start adding more drop sets, you start adding more supersets. I mean, you don't always have to do, like I say, a complete 180 with it. You can just start tweaking, and you can start almost finessing what you do have to make it last a little bit longer. Before then you hit a big reset button. And again, going back to the personal trainer thing, if you have the money, when you do think it's time to make the switch, you could even pay for a trainer just to write you a new plan in that sense, and you'll send them what you have been doing, you can send them your diet, you can send them what you like and what you don't like. Don't forget, you're paying them for a service, so they should be able to come back with something and say, okay, maybe you can got a bunch of pictures you can send them, and they can be like, I've been through all this evidence, all this material, and I think if you do this, it's going to work. But once again, give it time. Now, it doesn't 100% mean it is going to work, but you've got to allow it to bed in, right? You've got to allow it to bed in. Don't keep chopping and changing. I think outside of people just not training hard enough, it's probably one of the number one reasons as to why people do not see the gains they want to in the gym, because we're all looking for the quick fix. It's like we see an article or we see a magazine headline and they come up with this crazy new workout and we go, that's what I've been missing, and if I start doing that in 2 days, I'm going to be massively jacked. But that's not how it works. Now, I will say, if chopping and changing is what you enjoy, then you should do it, because enjoying the gym is always going to be the most important aspect, because it means you'll want to go. But I think even then you'll start to get a bit fed up eventually, because again, you're not making the changes that you want to make. And I think most people that go to the gym, no matter what their goals are, do want to see something at the end of it. It's just that mental reward that gets you all excited and jumping around and doing backflips, and then you break your neck and hopefully you don't die. So yeah, take your time with it, do not rush, and be smart. Listen to your body. That's the smartest thing anybody had told me. Listen to your body. And as soon as I did listening to my body, including sometimes not going to the gym because I felt like I didn't need it, I grew more and I got bigger and I was more productive, which is what we all want. So there we go. Hopefully that helps. If it doesn't, well, never mind. We'll move on to the next one. Please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Hit the bell ding ding so you know other videos are going live. The day this is going live is Black Friday. So if you go to GorillaMind.com and use the code Simon, you get 30% off the entire store. That's right, so you should use that. Also, SimonMiller.BigCartel.com. Use the code Black Friday to get 50% off the entire store. So there's a bunch of that. Greg Doucette's cookbook is also in the link in the description below. Instagram and Twitter at SimonMiller316. I'm on Cameo if you want me to shout at you. Patreon.com/SimonMiller316 for that. Let me just go through this weird Batman cave thingamajig here. It's always fun, but thank you for listening. Anyone that lasted this long, I'll tell you, I had two versions of this video. This is the second one. The first one broke, and the first one was far better, but I wanted to get it done either way. You take care of yourself, smash the gym, speak to you soon.